Girl, is that a crab? All right, we're live again. Parte dos. We have some technical difficulties, but you know what? That's just Murphy and his law. So we're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna grab our co-host while there she is. We're gonna add her to. Hope everybody is keeping warm because it's fucking cold everywhere. Perfect.
It worked. Yes.
That was annoying.
But par for the course. I mean, it's like always something when you're doing a new thing. There's always something.
I'm like, oh, this is just Murphy and his bum ass law. It's fine. We're fine. Bum ass Murphy, bum ass law.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got you. We are split screen.
Yes. I'm gonna hope that my tripod doesn't fall over.
I mean, same. Same.
All right, it's working. It's working. We
All
good.
right. Cool. All right. So for everybody watching currently live or in a replay situation, we would like to welcome you to the inaugural episode of pretend like you hear drum rolls. In pursuit of Black excellence, because I do my own echoes all the time. So I am Lady T, the Black Teena Marie, and I am joined by.
I'm Kristin Iris, the Taino queen.
Yes. And today we are going to be discussing what it means to pursue Black excellence for ourselves and for the culture at large. So,
But before we do that, I actually have to exit and come back in because when I tried to share it, it totally distorted my screen and I've got an echo now. So why not? It's an adventure. So give me 1 second. I'll be out and then I'll come back in.
See, this is what it means to pursue Black excellence, y'all. Sometimes shit don't go right. I mean, okay. Largely shit doesn't go right, but you have to be flexible and figure it out because nobody's going to give you anything, especially when you're young, Black, and gifted. We're going to wait for her to come back. Hi, who's this on? Hi, Trisha. I don't know you, but I'm so happy that you're here. Let's see if we can get Kristin back right now. Let's see.
There we go.
Back? You good?
I'm back. Sorry, guys. That's what I get for trying to share it, apparently.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it alone. I'll share it after. It's cool. But for you guys, please feel free to share this out. And by feel free, I mean, please share it out. Invite people in.
Come to us. All right. So, you ready?
Yes.
I figured it'd be the most polite thing to let you go first because I'm all about being polite.
Me, as far as what it means to pursue Black excellence, well, for me, that means being my excellent Black ass self. And by that, I feel like there's so many things that it means, but by that, I mean really allowing me to be me, allowing me to be in my Blackness and that me, however I show up, is me and my Blackness, and to pursue the things that I am pursuing. So for me individually, it's really about owning yourself and also deconstructing all the dialogues and narratives that come at you, telling you that you're not enough, you're not this, you're not that, based on what society wants or even the people around you, and just being like, no, I know who I am, or learn who you are, welcome who you really are home, and live into your truth, live into your beauty, into your brilliance, and bring that into the world. And so individually, for myself here, that's what that means, but it also means bringing that out into the world and doing my work and my various work, because both of us are like, what's that word? Multi-passionate? Multi-passionate. Yeah, so we're both multi-passionate. We both love different things, and it's really allowing me to pursue those different things and to bring that brilliance into the world and to be visible, to actually show up and take up space and be visible, because there's so many ways that society or different people try to silence you or take you out of the conversation or out of consideration, and to really stand up and be like, no, here I am, and you will listen, and create change from that place of being really embodied in who you are and in your Blackness and in that history.
I mean, I guess that is exactly how I feel. Like for me, when I think about being young, Black, and gifted, or, you know, old, Black, and gifted, middle-aged, Black, and gifted, I think about being able to do it in a way that doesn't replicate systems of oppression. So in being Black and being proud and being visible, knowing what your privileges are, like as an able-bodied woman, like I have more visibility and just like literally am able to get around, to show up physically in spaces that somebody, let's say in a wheelchair, or somebody who has an invisible, even pain illness, that can't get around in the same way, and making sure that you make space for that. I feel like for a lot of people, being Black and excellent follows these elitist white supremacist ideas. Like Black excellence is about getting a college degree. Black excellence is about being the pioneering doctor in your department, whatever that is. And for me, I just think that being Black and excellent means that whatever your role is in life and wherever you are in your life, whatever path that's taken for you, that means that you show up and you are doing your best to create space not only for yourself, but pulling people along with you, or at least making space for people to find where you are as well. So I feel like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I like that. I agree. I think it's really important, the systems of oppression, because we are two cisgendered women and
Yes.
mostly able-bodied. We can talk about that on a different
True.
show, a different episode. We're
Mostly.
mostly able-bodied and in fairly good condition. You know, and that does give us a certain amount of privilege. I mean, and we're also pretty. Pretty
Yeah.
girl privilege. So
Pretty privilege is real.
yeah, it is. It's real. And so I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything, but like, you know, we can own that part of we're like, we're gorgeous. We're Black
Yeah.
and
Because
beautiful,
I
you
mean,
know, but that's got
that's
privilege. And
also part of
so
the things that we've been told that we're not able to be. Like, you're not able to
yes.
be Black and attractive. You're cute for a Black girl, or you're
Yep.
like cute for a dark skinned girl, even to go into colorism with it. Like, you're cute for a
Yep.
big girl. So if you're big and fat, if you're big and fat and maybe you don't have long hair, if you know, there's
Yeah.
so many markers of traditional European beauty standards that, like, as a Black woman, to say that I have pretty privilege. And, you know, shout out to Janet Mock. If you haven't read, she did a really great article about pretty privilege, how she, as a trans woman, has access to things because she can pass.
Mm-hmm.
Not that she is, she just, you know, she's pretty. And so people don't assume that she's trans because there are weird ideas about that as well. So, no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I think that's an important one to mention, because as people who are in marginalized groups, and that could be us, it could be other groups, but as people in marginalized groups start to climb the ladder, we don't want to be the people who step on others to climb that ladder, because other people stepped on us to climb the ladder.
Black men, white women.
Oh my gosh, are you okay? You need some
So
water?
dry.
Do you need some water?
This big ass thing of water I got right here.
I mean, it sounds like you got a little something in your throat
tickle
there. A little, yeah. So,
a little shade in my throat.
And especially us as like Black women, we definitely got stepped on, but we also have privilege, and I want to make sure I'm not stepping on other people to climb up. So
that's real. I think that's a very interesting point, because I feel like, you know, then we get into like respectability politics, right? Like, my mom did HR at a prestigious institution for a long ass time, and she started as like, not administrative assistant, because we're talking about the 80s. She started as a secretary. That's what she was. And by the time she left, she was an admin in a department. Like, it was on her to make sure that people's visas were cool so that we could stay at the forefront of medicine. Now y'all know what I'm talking about. But she instilled in me a way of being able to move in a white world safely-ish, I guess, like, because we're never safe in white spaces, but I can speak a certain way. I have a certain diction when I feel like it. I know how to conduct myself in a way that puts white people at ease, but also like flip that to being a woman and having this idea that I need a man, and those ideals of like how to move as a woman, how to attract a man. I swear way too much
Yes.
traditional attractiveness, but I got a man anyway, so there's that. But yeah, it's just like,
But is that value wrapped up in a man thing? And it's like,
you're like, girl, I'm fly with or without. Probably more without. Love you, babe, so much. So much.
Yeah, I'm pretty, I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm pretty fly with, but I'm also really fly without.
But I'm also super fly without. Like,
yeah, I definitely don't need it. I'm pretty fly.
But yeah, just feeling like you are expected to show up in these very narrow ways, and that's the only path to success. Also, that success is about accumulating certain things, like the American dream. You got to have this house in this neighborhood, these kids, this dog, this man, because, you know, we didn't make space for anybody to be queer.
I was, oh my God, I was just thinking that when you said it. I'm like, this man, and I'm like, and your kids can't be queer, and your man can't be queer, and you can't be queer, nobody can be queer, and your neighbors better not be queer. Your neighbors can't be queer either. Maybe your auntie could be queer, but that's it.
But she can't even be like for real queer. She got to have a roommate.
Yeah, she gotta be like closet queer.
Yeah, she got to be Bert and Ernie gay. Like, okay, cool, great. This is so progressive. Like, it's this, and I get it. It's a scarcity mindset. Like, you as a coach and me as a person, like, I don't know, as a whatever. As a person who understands that, like, there is enough for all of us, but generations of Black people have gone without. Generations of brown people, generations of queer people, generations of lots of people have gone without. So it's a survival tactic that was taught to us. And like, I'm appreciative of where like my mama did have to do things a certain way. But it makes me think of the recently recirculated conversation between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, where, you know, he's talking about how his father couldn't really be present or even nice to his family because he had to go to work and be called nigga all day because he couldn't quit that job because he had 9 kids to take care of. And where James Baldwin went, like, forwent, I don't even know how to say that word. He went without a relationship because he felt like he couldn't provide, because he knew he wasn't gonna go to job and be called nigga. Like, he knew he was like, that's not for me, dog. He was like, that's gonna be a no for me. And I mean, he turned out to be James fucking Baldwin.
Yeah, he became James Baldwin, you know.
Fucking fine. He didn't do
born
too
and
bad,
died James Baldwin, so you know.
Right. I mean, I aspire to live and die Trinette Williams, and that fucking means something, okay?
Yeah.
But he is like, it's the generation, is like, my mom was able to come and, you know, put in the work in that certain way. But now, instead of being like, oh, I'm so happy you don't have to do that, there's that fear, because, you know, it was a different time for her and for my great aunts and my grandmothers. Like, I am defiant in so many different ways, and it feels dangerous to her. And as I'm older and I'm not a child, it doesn't feel like, my mom just doesn't understand me. Like, there's still some of that, because she don't. I love her. But for her, it's a safety issue, a very, very real safety issue. And, you know, that's like, we work so hard to have space, and we haven't had enough money, and we haven't been able to live in neighborhoods that support us, that are disenfranchised, that she wants me to do better, but not realizing that better, the marker for better is not that I get to replicate what white people have done or what men have been allowed to do. For me, better is being able to be an artist who can support themselves. But
Yep, same.
that's that's just shiftless work. Like, so,
Yeah, or starving at artists or something. I just realized that I don't have my light on. Here we go. But yeah, so, and what you said about like the not replicating whiteness or white levels of excellence, I think that's really important because that's the standard. Like that's the bar. That's the bar that everybody is judged against. White is the norm. It's just like in media, white is the norm. If they're not in a script, okay, so like I've been reading scripts because I work with a film production company, and if it doesn't say, I mean, I should say in books too, it's like if it doesn't say that the person's black, then you just assume that they're white, unless they've got a name like Cho Chang, So like,
right.
it's always the norm, or that's the bar, that's the standard, that's what people expect, and it's like a lot of those bars and those things that we look at as like white success are based in oppression or capitalism or white supremacy. And so why would we want to aspire to that? That's not actually going to uplift us. That's going to push other people down. It's replicating the same thing. And so creating our own bar, our own standard is, I think, really important. And looking at our own heroes, because, we have people in the Black community, Black people who've done amazing things. Technological advancements, everybody's iPhone, not made by white people, so these are things that like aren't really shown, and these are things that we can look at so that we're not constantly looking at, like white heroes, I guess.
I mean, I shouldn't have been in my adulthood as a person who reads fantasy and science fiction before I found out about Octavia Butler. Like,
me too. She's my favorite author. I was like in my 20s.
Yeah,
I think I was like I might have been 19, but I'm pretty sure I was not 19. I'm pretty sure enough. I was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was
almost
like
too old for R. Kelly, so
almost. Yeah, I feel like we're not laughing at the victims. We are not laughing at the victims.
Not. I am specifically thinking about that clip where he was like, "How old is a teenager?" It was like, "You're gross.
Like, what do you mean by teenager?" So, yeah, but I was probably 20 when I came across Octavia Butler, and she totally changed me as a writer. Like reading her books and being like, "Oh, there's Black people in here." Yeah. The star is Black. The main character is Black. We're not just side characters or caricatures, characters and caricatures, but caricatures of what a Black person is. We're not just the stereotype. That's always how we're put in books. And she, like, once I read her books, I was like, oh, my characters don't have to be white. I've been writing all these white characters this whole time because that's what people want to read. Like, I don't have to do that. And she completely changed me as a writer.
And I think it's like what really got me is that how good, like how excellent a book Fledgling is. And I love vampires and I have since I was young. And that was my introduction to Octavia Butler. And it was just like,
same.
So you mean to tell me that this book has been here that I could have been reading when I was reading, constantly this white take on vampires. And the fact that she even addressed, why is this main character a Black vampire? Without it was like, it's not even just like racial, I guess. But like also in being Black, a Black character, this character does encounter racism. It's just an othering from their own people, and just I feel like that would have been so much more beneficial to me when I was really writing, when I was, when you're looking at people to model yourself after, like, she's an excellent writer, full stop, period, no modifiers. But despite that fact, and purely because she is a Black woman, like, she's never been given her just due in circles that, love or claim to be elevated when it comes to sci-fi and fantasy. And I'm just like,
she was a pioneer for science fiction. and for
Yes.
speculative fiction, and she has not gotten the recognition. I was so sad when I realized, like, when I found her and then realized she was dead and had recently died right before I found her. I was like, well, fuck. So now
Mm-hmm.
there's one more novel of hers that I haven't read, and I'm just, it's Kindred, because it's going to be the last time I can read one of her novels for the first time. So, like, I'm not ready to have that last first. So I'm just going to wait a little bit.
Yeah. And you know, at your
But
age, there are so many firsts have passed.
yeah, exactly. But, and what you were saying about the fledgling, because I believe that was my introduction to her too. Shout out to Kirsten Brockman, who let me borrow that book, who I now
Shout
also
out.
have lent to my boyfriend who's reading it. And that's his introduction to Octavia Butler too, actually, because he had never heard of her either.
So
So
fucking good. It's such a good fucking book.
I feel like as a kid, the books that we were given, or at least the books I was exposed to that had Black characters, were always in the realm of slavery. Like, that was always the story, is about slavery and slavery times, and like that's what we were given in school. And the
Mm-hmm.
like, she was just a regular girl. Like, she was a regular girl in California, West Coast area. And I'm like, if I were 12, I could be this girl. She's not actually 12, but she looks like 12. But anyways, I'm like, if I were younger, I could
Right.
play her in the movie, you know? So seeing this kind of like, oh, she's just like, she could be white, but she's not. She's Black, and there's a reason she's Black. And it has to do with science. It doesn't have to do with race and
Science.
race relations. Science. It has to do with science, why she's Black. But that, seeing her, I was like, oh, this is different, and she's just regular. You know, it's like when you see like all your coming of age books, all these kids are white. They're always white coming of age books until very recently. And seeing that, seeing those books starting to come out, like, I still love young adult fiction. Actually,
Yeah,
majority of people who
forever.
read young adult are adults. Like, they're not in the young adult category anymore. So I think it's like 75% are like around 30 or up. But all
I
these
mean,
young adult books, like, now they're starting to branch out, and they're opening up, and more writers are actually being able to have our stories told, have our
mm-hmm.
images, have our faces, have our experiences put in book form and put out there. That's finally happening. And if that had happened as I was a kid, like, my kids are going to have a totally different experience. Well, not totally, but they're going to have some different experiences, because, you know, we still live in
I
a
don't
racist and
know.
white supremacist world. But
We
they're going
got
to
two
have so
Black people
many.
running for president right now.
Yeah. So, like, they're going to grow up in a different world, and they're going to grow up with books that have kids who look like them, who are going through the same regular things that they're going through, and maybe some magic sprinkled up in there, because that's
Oh, that's
cool.
the best part.
That's the best. I
Just
love the
like
magic.
literal physical Black girl magic. It's all I want. I can't see what time it is.
It is 1:41 over here, so 2:41 over there. So it's been about 20 minutes once
Ish.
we got through the glitches.
Glitches, bitches. It's
Glitches,
terrible.
bitches.
Like, just can't let us be great. We're talking about
um,
being Black excellent on the first day of Black History Month, aka Black Appreciation Month.
Black
Glitches.
Appreciation Month. Yeah. But you know what? We were excellent navigating through that.
We were. We excellently navigated through that. Do you have any parting shots, closing thoughts
Well,
on
on Black excellence?
Black Excellence?
Well, I think there's an element of our history and our bloodline and ancestry
Mm-hmm.
that we could dive into. I know we've talked a little bit about this, but how about you start with this one?
You're just gonna put me on the spot, like we're doing a live show that I planned for. Um, I feel like for me personally, my family is full of people who have done the best they could to survive in the way that they thought was necessary. But I can't sit here and think of my immediate family outside of my parents who have thought that thriving was their job. Like, even with how my mom subscribes to respectability politics, a lot less now, but still, like, even me, like, I'm still unpacking and unraveling all of that stuff. But I think thinking about my family and my family tree, I've always felt weird because I was never just trying to live within the confines of safety. Like, my interest always took me outside of what was known to my family. But shout out to our perseverance, because we still here. But I think there has been a lack in my family personally of thinking about thriving and having that be an important thing, not just, making sure bills are paid. That's a part of it, because we are both intimately acquainted with the anxiety of not having enough money. Like,
yes. Yes.
You could put me in that commercial. I'm I come from poor people who are also still poor. But I think, like, my family is stubborn and tenacious, but very risk adverse, and it's hard to change their minds, which is why I don't try anymore. But I want for the bloodline through me, however, if that means adopting, or physical impregnation and being pregnant.
Did that hurt to say that?
Just, oh man, being pregnant is not fucking fun. But to kind of change that, to be like, no, baby, I want you to be happy. I don't want you to just be alive. Like, the victory is not just in being physically alive. The victory is in living, being able to live your life as, I mean, a Black kid. Because even if me and him break up today and I go get pregnant tonight by somebody not Black, I'm still raising a Black baby. But like, you, as a Black child of whatever gender, whatever sexual orientation, whatever spirituality that you decide, if you decide to go into the church that your mother left, like, it's always about providing space for my descendants to be safe in living the life that they want to live for themselves. So I kind of answered your question. Bam.
Yeah, you did. Bam. I think in the subject of, like, Black excellence and in thriving, like, we come from we come from the survivors of our people, like, Taino Queen. Okay, so the Taino people in Puerto Rico, which was not called Puerto Rico, like, they were nearly annihilated. Obviously not totally, because I'm here, but they were nearly annihilated by, the European colonizers. And so that I am the child of survivors. And even before the colonizers came, there were people there that were, living and thriving in the land. And same thing with through slavery, and people like our ancestors from slavery. We are the ones who survived. Like, we are the children of the survivors. And back before that in Africa, these thriving people that I feel like, with all the hardship that my ancestors had to go through for me to get here, I have a responsibility, one, to live the best life that I can, to actually thrive, to flourish. And because of the work of the people before me, I am able to do that, but also to help build a better world for my children and my children's children and their children's children and all of our children's children who are going to be inhabiting this world. Like, we are in a position to create a better world because we're also brilliant. Like, you and me specifically, we are actually brilliant people. So I feel like this is something that I've come to, especially in the last few years, is, you know, I have a responsibility to my children. I used to say to my daughters and my daughters' daughters, but like, you never know, and you never know who's going to come out with what parts and how they're going to identify anyway. So my children and my children's children, I have a responsibility to them, to, especially to my children, to be an example. And part of that realization happened several years ago when I was in an abusive relationship, an emotionally abusive relationship with my ex. Was I was in it and I knew I had to leave, and I'm like, I have a responsibility. Like, I cannot have children with this person because I cannot show them that it's okay to be treated this way. Like, I have a responsibility. I mean, children were not a thing that was going to happen, but like, I have a responsibility to my daughters. I was thinking it that way. I have a responsibility to my daughters and my daughters' daughters to show them how to be treated, to show them what's not tolerable, what's not okay. And I at that time, like, it was specific to daughters because of the way, especially the male and female dynamic. I know it's very heteronormative, but I live a largely heteronormative life.
Well, you're speaking about your experience, not how the world is supposed to be.
Yes. And so, but in the social constructs and social conditioning and social norms, the ways that men and women interact, some of it can be very toxic. And I'm like, I cannot show this to my kids. I can't let them think that this is okay. And that was part of what helped me to eventually leave and be like, okay, this is not working for me anymore. We gotta part ways. Was to think about that and be like, I need to be better. I have a responsibility to my descendants, and I have a responsibility to my ancestors to be the best I can because of what they had to go through for me to be here.
I fucks with that heavily. I think the lack of having people directly in my family who have sought out a way to be other than just existing and taking what's handed to them even goes back to relationships. I don't have any out queer family members. Nope. Watch somebody send a text like, you know, so-and-so. I'm like,
yeah, you're like, you know, so-and-so. You're like, they haven't been single. They haven't been single for 30 years for no reason. Like,
yeah, I like ouch being the phrase that pays, but in relationships, like, I have a great aunt who stopped talking to my mom because she divorced my father. He was cheating. Like, she didn't leave for no good goddamn reason. She stuck it out for much longer than she needed to. You know, like so many women, she felt compelled to stay for the kids. You know, you to put in all this work with this goofy person. And
oh my God.
You know, you want the thing. They got together as like young teens, like 14 and 15. And my mother left. She remarried. That didn't go well. She left again, and now she's on her third husband. And I mean, I clown her because it's funny, but
you're so rude.
I'm so fucking rude. That's why she don't talk to me. But yeah, like, for me, my mother set the stage for, if you're not happy, if they're not the partner that you deserve, if they can't take care of you the way that you should have a partner take care of you, peace the fuck out. Like, she never said that because, you know, we had a contentious relationship when I was growing up, but through her actions, and now we can talk about it as women, you leave. And that's part of that thriving. But my aunts are in marriages and common law marriages with people that they can barely stand to look at. and we talking about 30 some odd years, or almost, 20 plus years. And just the expectation that as Black women, we are supposed to show up for Black men in a very detrimental way to us.
Yes.
Because, the world is so hard for them. It's like, oh, because it's a cakewalk for me. I walk outside and I have rose petals thrown in my path so I never have to touch the bare ground. No.
I mean, the world is hard for them, but it's made easier because of us.
Because of us and their proximity to privilege, because they are male, or white privilege because they are male. And
yes.
Black men will habitually step on the necks of Black women to get close to white male privilege. That is I'm further removed from that white privilege, that white male privilege specifically, that I can empathize very deeply and want to provide a space for you. I want our home to be a source of peace, but I want it to be a source of peace for me too. You don't just get peace. We get peace together, or we need to separate and find peace separately.
I can't just be his peace. He got to be my peace.
He got to be my favorite.
He got to be my peace too.
Is it's at the top it says "Be His Peace," and at the bottom it's the picture of Lisa Left Eye Lopez, R.I.P. her mugshot.
Yeah.
I love Be His Peace.
Yeah, here's your peace,
I will
bitch.
Burn this motherfucker down. Don't get it
I will
twisted.
burn it down.
But yeah, that's also how I feel. And I look at the things that my cousins my age or close enough in age have put up with in their straight relationships. And I'm just like, no, I would much rather, I can legitimately and honestly say I would rather be single, because I have decided that I deserve a life that makes me happy. And you know what makes me happy? Not having to get into it with no bum ass dude about his shitty behavior.
Yeah, I'm over that. I feel like everybody has their I can't think of the right term, not their learning curve with that. Threshold, yes, but everybody's got that learning partner that taught you what you not gonna deal with. Woo! You're like, ooh, all right, there we go. Now that I got that experience out of the way, let me go into this either excellent singlehood or excellent relationship, because I ain't doing that shit again.
And it's like, now being in a relationship after so many years of not, and I mean, life for me ain't been no crystal stair, but with my current partner, there is an effort, a sustained effort that actually leads to change behavior. And change behavior moves the relationship forward. And it's just like you see those memes where it's like, everybody wants a completed work and we're all works in progress. It's like, yeah. But some of us are actually trying to do better, and there are those of us who are not. I don't care.
Yeah, some are works and some are works in progress.
Yes. Some of y'all are out here.
We need the in progress.
Y'all are out here just being like, there you go. That's all you get. And it's like,
yeah,
I believe.
They're like, oh, I'm also going to take back some of the things I was giving you. I'm going to take this one back. I'm going to take that one back. Like, wait a minute. Hold on. We going backwards. This ain't going to work for me.
Do you like basic human decency? Let me get that about you. Like,
yeah, exactly. It was like, wait a minute. Common respect. I'm gonna need you to get that back. That's for me.
No, you gonna keep it? Okay. Well,
I gotta go.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. You have an awesome time with that. Time.
Thanks for the dick.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. You know, usually. I mean, thanks for the dick.
And goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like you see a lot of, and there are many more attempts to showcase Black love, and like not love and basketball, emotionally abusive, manipulative, but at least they got together in the end kind of love. It's like,
yeah, Like
Yeah,
people
like
praising the Offset and his going on stage in Cardi's show, and I'm like, this is abuse. This is manipulation and public manipulation and abuse. Like, get your ass off that stage.
if you show up to my job on some bullshit, I'm having security escort you out. That's it.
I
Like,
might
off
actually
rip.
fuck you up first. I'm not gonna lie. I might.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'd be like, no, you gotta
cool.
escort him out, not me. Him out. Escort him
like,
out.
both of y'all gotta leave at this point. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's not what you're not gonna do is that. But
just show up at my job fucking up my money. Like, please don't fuck up my money. I need my money. I need all of my coins. But yeah, I think when it comes to, that's an important part of Black excellence, where it's like who your partners are. And maybe you do decide to be single, which I think is something we don't talk about enough. Like, everybody, I'd be like, oh, I've been single for 4 years. Say it just like that. Give you that statement of fact energy. And people are like, it'll happen for you. Like, just give it time. I met so-and-so when I wasn't looking. I was like,
I didn't need that. I'm not looking. I'm good.
Fine. Y'all are together, but neither of you are happy. I'm very happily single, and I'm gonna go hang out with my friends and be happy with my friend. I'm gonna stay home and be happy with a book or some Netflix or a business or some other hobby. I'm gonna go do some martial arts. I'm gonna go make some cocktails. I'm gonna go do so many things that make me happy that don't include having a partner, because having a partner is no guarantee to happiness. And I think there needs to be much more conversation around, like, when we're talking about excellence and being excellent, you need to have a support system that supports you being excellent. Like, I know it's hard to pull away from family that's toxic, because we all got that blood is thicker than water. But they're your family, which, fuck that largely. But when it comes to our partners, that's where we are a lot of times willing to be less than excellent just to say that you have somebody. And not that your partner is perfect, because I don't believe in a perfect person. But you know when somebody is riding for you or not. You know when you have something that you can build something with somebody. And I feel like, I know me personally, and looking around at my relationships, that is few and far between. And that is not Black excellence, y'all.
No. And I think what you said there is really, like, one, being excellent on your own, but when you do get into a coupling, if you choose to, there are a lot of times, like, you're in it with someone, and you're, especially as women, quieting ourselves down because of the other person, or like trying not to shine too bright or whatever. And then also choosing someone who is not really up to par with us and not willing to help us to be greater. So, like, with my partner now, we talk about, like, okay, we're both still growing, you know, like, as people, but, like, as individuals who know each other, like, we are here not only to help build the other person and help them to, like, grow and expand and reach their potential, but us as a unit. It can't all just be about the unit. Like, the unit is important, of course, but, like, the individuals there as well. So, like, in the things that he's pursuing, I am helping him to step his game up. And the things that I'm pursuing, he helps me to, like, expand the idea or to get clarity. Like, these are the ways that you have to help each other so that you're both growing, and then the unit's growing, and not just, oh, well, now that I'm in it, okay, I'm gonna pull back because, you know, I'm too much for this person, or this person can't keep up with me. And none of that is actually Black excellence.
It's the opposite. I hate that shit.
It's the literal opposite. And I've had partners like that where they, like, like, I had an ex who was like, I think one day you're going to leave me because you're going to realize that I'm mediocre. and that I'm not good enough for you. I mean, I did end up leaving him, but
Spoiler alert.
obviously, yes. You know, obviously I did end up like leaving him, but like he straight up was like, I think that you're going to eventually realize you're too good for me.
It happens.
You know, and then I had another partner who just like constantly tried to push me down and make me feel shitty because I'm awesome. You know, and it's like when you feel bad about yourself, you try to make not you. Because he was feeling like not great about himself and his life, it's like, well, let me step on this person because that'll make me feel like I have control and power and it'll make me feel better about myself. It's like, don't go with those people. Be like, all right, deuces, I got to go. You know, like leave those people behind because they're pulling you down. They're going to dampen your excellence. They're going to like quiet your brilliance. They're going to silence your voice. Like you don't need those people. You need the people who are like, oh, I see you and you are fucking awesome. Like that's how my partner is now. Like he used to say that like when he'd meet my friends, he'd be like, she's amazing. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about over here? They're like, he said you're amazing. And I'm like, what? And they're like, just take it. I'm like, what's going on? I know, and it's cheesy. It's so much cheese. Put some Parmesan on that bitch. But like that is how he would be. He would just be like, and he still tells me, like, I'll help him through something and he'll just be like, you are so amazing. Like I can't, you know, he's just like, you're so amazing. And I'm like, that's so nice. It's like having somebody who appreciates you and like, you know, how you uplift them and then does the same. That's partnership.
Yeah, together as partners. No, that's tight. I am uncomfortable with feelings literally always. But yeah.
Me, I'm like, ooh, nice feelings. Look at these gooey, yummy, good feelings. And I get real cheesy. It's gross. Like, it's so gross. Ugh. Yeah. Then you do that.
Oh God.
You're just like, yeah, I mean, I guess.
I love him or whatever.
Literally, that's what she said once.
Once.
and then made that sound after. Yeah. She's like, I mean, I love him or whatever.
I am a work in progress.
Okay? And being a work in progress, key parts in progress is also Black excellence.
So, with that, we are going to wrap it up like safe sex. And, you know, some of us are having safe sex. I hope most of us are. I know most of us are.
Keep it safe. Keep it safe, people.
Keep it safe. Keep it sexy. Keep it consensual. You know, keep it pleasurable for everyone, one and all. But did you have one thing that you want people to know before we get out of here?
I do. One thing for you to know. Mm-hmm. When you are in a position of privilege and someone that is in a position that you have privilege and power over them, for example, male, female, white, black, able-bodied, differently abled body, neurotypical, neurodiverse, okay? And they say that something that you're doing is harmful, that is not the time to say, well, blah, 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 blah. I just want to explain and you're oppressing me. Shut the fuck up, okay? That is the time to literally shut the fuck up and ask yourself, maybe there's something here that I'm not seeing. Maybe there's something here that I'm doing that I don't realize. Let me go learn more about that and then go elsewhere to do your research, okay? Because people in marginalized groups already do enough emotional labor. We don't need to babysit you through how you are hurting us. It's oppressive and it's abusive. And if somebody blocks you because you're doing that, don't fucking get on another account and show up in their DMs. And then when they block you again, don't do it a third time. Stories from earlier in my week. we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, so please go do your homework. Shut up when someone says it and be like, all right, let me pause and let me actually see if I'm doing harm to this person that I have privilege and power over. How about you?
Tight. Well, thank you for sharing. In the spirit of shutting the fuck up is free and usually the best option.
Scroll.
When somebody says when somebody says something or posts a thing and you know the spirit in which it is meant, and as a Black woman who has to have lots of conversations with non-Black people about racism, I get that a lot of the time I have to be like, listen, your well-intentioned blah, blah, blah is still oppression. So I'm saying that, knowing that, all right? Coming with that energy. However, if somebody posts something that is supposed to be uplifting or conversation starting that is not inherently problematic, do not nitpick the shit. Like, because in being nitpicky in your desire to be right, which is conscious and unconscious, and your desire to perform allyship or perform superiority in some way, you are derailing what this person has decided is an important conversation. Especially if there are comments on this post, or a conversation is happening and other people are discussing their own issues that they've had with someone doing the behavior that the post or the conversation is discussing. You're straight up derailing. Like, that's it. It's self-serving because you feel away, like you feel attacked, you feel like, well, that person's obviously not looking at the full picture. It's like, no, for this part of the conversation, this is the full picture, and that's okay. Like, that's why we say Black Lives Matter, because we know that all lives should matter. Like, if you go and ask anybody, if it's just like, do you think there should be a full-scale genocide of any one group? The average person would be like, oh my God, no, what? Weird.
Yeah, that's
weird
what's wrong with you?
That's even a question. But we say Black Lives Matter because very specifically and daily and hourly and down to the nanosecond, behaviors and systems continue to show us that Black lives do not matter. So if we are talking about something in kind of a microcosm, respect that it's not going to address every part of the whole thing. And if people are talking about this particular issue in one lane, nobody needs you to come and be like, well, did you consider this? Sis, not the time, not the energy. If you want to then take that to your own space on the internet, cool, but respect the spirit in which the conversation is happening. Respect the spirit in which the shit is posted in the first place. And when you're going to respond to something as a naysayer, or even in support, because I've delete when I went to support something, because I'm like, this isn't the space for that.
Yes.
Even though it's in support, it's still not the space for that. Like, I'm taking my own advice about shutting the fuck up. Like, this is not just directed out. I direct this shit inward as well. You have to be mindful of the space you're taking up and fucking why. Like, what is your intention? Since you want to come here and police somebody else's intention, what is your intention in saying what you're saying? Is it really to further, if you really think a person is being, has a blind spot that you need to point out, like if somebody is being heteronormative, like you need to point that out. But like Kristin is talking about her experience with her heterosexual partner, it's like, yes, that's heteronormative, but right now we're talking about your personal experience. So somebody being like, that's heteronormative, you like,
yes,
well,
that's the kind of relationship it is.
And like, we talk about male privilege because that like affects heterosexual, right? Like, we not cool. But if we're talking about relationships and people just keep bringing it back to men and women, then you can be like, all right, it's other relationships, motherfucker. there are other people than men and women. Like, chill out. Then like, yes, then that's the opportunity to be like, hey, you have a blind spot. And you don't even have to like jump up at somebody and just be like, well, what the fuck? You can just be like, hey, cool. Hetero relationships, get it. They happen. But let me tell you about this queer relationship I'm in. Or this polycule that I'm in that's not just a man and a woman. Like, cool, we do need to, there are conversations that 100% need to be opened up. But that ain't every conversation. And especially when you know that if a post is talking about the everyday person and you want to bring in, you know, somebody in academia, let's say, it's like, no, girl, we're not talking about it at that level. We're talking about communicating with the average person. So when we talk about the issue at a grander level, then cool, then that input is necessary. But we're talking about it narrowly right now for a reason. So just be mindful when you speak and you comment on stuff that you're not doing it to showcase and showboat for yourself, or, you know, check in with yourself. Do I feel attacked? Because that's very fucking real. Like, if somebody says something about cishet women, I have to be like, well, I'm not that way. But you say that shit out loud at home, and you're like, you sound like a fucking 4-year-old.
Yeah.
You are well fucking aware of how hard it is to be trans in this world. So shut the fuck up. Shutting the fuck up is free. It's usually the best way to go. That's my one thing. That's it.
I am all about that. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, darling, thank you for popping in.
Yes. Well, we'll be back.
And being a reindeer, I guess.
Yes. Well, I got to be a little bit goofy. It's just kind of how I am.
True.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back on Fridays, every Friday, actually at 2 p.m.
Friday.
Eastern, probably.
Hopefully.
There were some challenges, but it's day 1. It's episode 1, so it's cool. It's cool.
It's also me. My life is a series of unfortunate events. Like, challenges follow me, you know, like omens.
Like, I sent someone the link earlier, and then I had gone back in and was like, we're running a little behind. There was a broken table involved. We'll be there soon.
You don't know that the table is broken yet, Kristin. Spoiler alert.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh. I hope he's not watching.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation.
It's my table. And by my table, I mean it would have to be Trinette's table because this is her apartment.
God. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be totally cool.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Cat can't say anything. You can't get the cat out.
Where can people find and connect with you, my lady?
People can find and connect with the show on the show page. In pursuit of Black excellence, here and on Instagram, IG if you want to be like super cool. You can find me at, where am I? Because you know you have your private page and then your public page. I'll tell y'all next week where you can find me. How about that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's do that. Yes. And you can find me. I have a public page on Instagram at Kristin Iris, and also on my website, kristiniris.com, where you can see more about the work that I do with Black creatives. And we have, or will soon have, a Patreon page, and we'll put that link up later.
Give us your money. Give us your fucking
Come support,
money.
Support the. We can't get started with that. We gotta go.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in live, and also for watching the replay. And hopefully you stuck through it this far. So if you can share this out, comment on this, let Facebook's algorithms do their rhythms.
Yes.
That would be so tight.
Do the cha-cha.
Or the mambo, or, you know, hip-hop dancing.
Yes.
Whatever it does. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.